Welcome back to Move Over Medicine. I'm Dr. Tanya, and today I want to talk to you about the healthy nutrition swaps that I adopted to reach my current level of fitness. So first, I'll tell you about my swaps and then go through sort of a list of unhealthy food favorites that some of my Instagram followers shared with me. And I'll give you some alternatives to those quote-unquote unhealthy foods. So let's get into it. So first off, back when probably a little over 7 years ago, I was 100% addicted to sodas. I loved Big Red, Coca-Cola. Those were probably my favorite. But when I tell you, I could drink soda literally all day. But we know that soda is full of sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and all of those things can be detrimental to a sort of healthy lifestyle and healthy routine. So what I did was I essentially started to transition myself away from drinking sodas to ultimately drinking sparkling water. So the way I transition is basically, instead of drinking sodas with my meals, I would drink fruit infused sparkling waters. Izzy used to be my go-to, but I don't really drink, actually I don't drink those at all anymore. Now I mainly drink Topo Chico, which is basically a sparkling mineral water that also has like lemon flavor, sometimes, or not lemon, it's usually a lime flavor. But that's really all I drink outside of regular plain water, my coffee, but anyway, that was one swap. So basically by getting rid of the sodas, I was able to cut tons, like hundreds of calories out of my diet. So that was the first swap. The next swap was I got rid of my sugary lattes and I switched to a less sweet alternative, which is cappuccino. Now, I used to drink mochas. Starbucks mocha typically has at least 300 calories depending on the size. I think they usually use whole fat milk, but then that syrup that they use to make it sweeter tends to be, like, obviously it's full of sugar basically. So instead of drinking mochas, now I drink cappuccinos. Number one, cappuccinos have less milk than lattes or mochas. And they also, when I get it, it usually only has maybe one pump, 2 pumps at the most of that sugary syrup. So I'm basically cutting out calories by getting rid of some of the milk, and I'm also cutting out calories by getting rid of some of the sugar. So that was the second healthy swap that I adopted, and I absolutely love cappuccino. Now I can't even drink one of those mochas because I just feel like, oh, it's too sweet and it doesn't work for me anymore. The next healthy swap is I got rid of the toast and I started eating steel cut oats for breakfast. The benefit of the steel cut oats is, number one, it has fiber. So the fiber makes you feel full longer, but it also has a blunting mechanism. So it basically keeps your insulin from spiking. Well, number one, it keeps your blood sugar from spiking. Then it secondarily decreases your insulin spike. So you're not telling your fat cells to store sugar as fat as much. So that's the benefit of swapping from regular toast to steel cut oats. The other thing is I switched from, I don't eat as much beef or red meat anymore. I do eat some on occasion, but it's pretty rare at this point. Instead, I opt for cage-free or free-range chickens. So I'll eat eggs, free-range eggs, or I'll eat cage-free, free-range chicken. And it's a lot leaner, it doesn't have as much of the saturated fat, and it's packed with protein. So I can pretty much ensure that I'm getting enough protein when I eat that way. The other thing that I eat instead of beef is I eat more seafood, and I make sure that my seafood is wild caught. So I eat wild caught salmon, I eat wild caught shrimp, mainly salmon and shrimp. On occasion, I'll get another sort of like snapper or redfish or something like that, but mainly my go-to are salmon and steelhead trout, which is also similar to salmon, and shrimp. So those are the main things that I go to. So they have more omega-3 fatty acids, which are the protective fats that help keep plaques out of the arteries, and a lot less of the sort of saturated fat like what you find in beef. So it's actually a bit of a benefit there. The next thing, or the last swap, was I switched from eating canned and frozen fruits and vegetables to fresh fruits and vegetables. Now, I do on occasion use frozen berries to make smoothies, but the majority of the fruits and vegetables that I eat are actually fresh. And when I can, when I can get local, I choose local over vegetables that are shipped in, and I choose organic when I can. But if you can't get organic and you can't get local, still fresh fruits and vegetables are the best. Now, if you don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, frozen is probably the next best option above canned, which I don't prefer because canned is just like anything else that has a long shelf life. It has preservatives and salts and other things added to it to keep it fresh, and that decreases the nutrient value and also can add things that can be harmful. So basically, fresh fruits and vegetables are your friend. Now, so I polled you guys on Instagram, and you told me what your favorite unhealthy foods were. So my challenge is to give you sort of some alternatives that make these foods a little less unhealthy, basically. So one of the big ones is pizza. Pizza probably was the most common response. And the way that I sort of make pizza a little more healthy is by, number one, opting for a thin crust instead of a regular crust. You can also choose cauliflower crust. So basically, by switching to the thinner crust, you get a less refined grains or flour, you get less calories, and you get cauliflower crust. And that's good for people who are on a keto diet, or people who are trying to decrease their calories, or even people who have diabetes that are trying to decrease their sugar intake. So those are some healthier options if you choose pizza. The other thing is you can also obviously use like vegan cheese. May be a little more sort of healthy, I suppose, than regular full-fat cheese. But then also, if you choose leaner cuts of meat to put on your pizza, so instead of getting pepperoni, choosing chicken, or maybe no meat at all, just vegetables. Those are also excellent ways to sort of make your pizza a little more healthy, basically. The next one was French fries, and French fries is absolutely my favorite. And if I can be honest with you, I eat French fries at least once a week. French fries are my treat, and I typically get it from Chick-fil-A. But if you want to make French fries a little healthier, you can always just buy them in the grocery store. Make sure you read the back of the labels and make sure that they don't contain like any additives. Sometimes they will powder, or coat the French fries in like flour or something like that to make the crust a little crispier. So just read the back and make sure they don't have a lot of additives. If they have more than 3 ingredients on the back, then you probably just want to switch and try to get something else that basically only has potatoes. But anyway, you can buy them at the grocery store and then bake them with a little drizzle of olive oil or some avocado oil or something like that. You can drizzle them like that and then bake them. I usually try to broil them to get a crisp, or I actually bake them first until they're almost cooked and then broil them just to make them a little crispier. And that's how I sort of make my French fries a little healthier, basically. It also reduces the calories. You're not getting as much trans or saturated fat. So that's a better alternative to just plain French fries. Another alternative is switching from regular potatoes or white potatoes to sweet potatoes. But if you fry it, then it's pretty much the same badness. So even baking those is a better alternative to the fried ones. The next one was like donuts, cakes, sweets, pastries. Unfortunately, really the only recommendation for that is to try to switch to like there are some keto options where they use almond flour and things of that nature instead of wheat flour to decrease sort of the carb content. You can also try recipes that use instead of almond milk instead of full fat regular milk, you can use recipes that use almond milk and things of that nature that kind of increases the protein content but decreases some of the unhealthy fat and things of that nature. You can also use, I don't recommend using like things like stevia and things like Splenda. If you're gonna add sugar to anything, I say just take the sugar, skip out on the artificial sweeteners. And the reason is because those actually spike your insulin as well. Plus the long-term effects of those, we don't really know. So just stick to regular sugar, but just decrease the amount of sugar that you're using. And then another alternative is to basically, you can use, like if you make brownies, you can use cocoa powder, the cacao powder, instead of, you know, the mixes, traditional box mixes and things of that nature. So those are just a few tips to kind of make your pastries and sweets and things of that nature a little more healthy, basically. The other thing is when you go to the donut shop, instead of buying fried donuts, get a baked donut. And instead of getting the glazed donut, get
I don't like where this is going.
the donut that's baked and not glazed. That's another way to cut out some of the sugar, cut out some of the calories, and make it a little more healthy. And then the last thing, I think that last big thing was basically burgers, obviously. So burgers, ways to make burgers a little more healthy. First off, if you're gonna get a beef burger, opt for a grass-fed beef burger. They contain less antibiotics and harmful hormones and chemicals and things of that nature. So grass-fed is one of the recommendations, grass-fed beef, if that's an option. Also, you can opt for a sort of bunless burger, or even to swap out the beef patty for a veggie patty. I'm not a vegetarian, but I personally do enjoy certain types of veggie burgers. Usually I prefer the ones that are made with black beans and sweet potatoes. I've tried others that were made with like, brown rice. I'm not really a fan of those, but the black bean, sweet potato patties, those tend to be a little, you know, they're more flavorful and they don't taste as different from, you know, they don't taste like beef by any means, but you know, it's a little less different basically. But anyway, so those are some easy swaps that you can make to make your unhealthy foods a little bit healthier. So let me know down in the comments if this was something that you'd like, and let me know if there's anything in particular that you want me to address and talk about. Always make sure you like, comment on this video, and then also subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure you turn on your notification bells so that you don't miss an upload. And at this point, I'm uploading every week on Monday at about 5 p.m. Central. So make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. See you next time.